Hey Ortega family, students, how are you? This is lesson number 2 at our stay at home series. Again, I'm Denise, the art teacher at Ortega Elementary, and last week we made, or in our last lesson, we made our art room in a box. And today we're going to use some of those materials. We are going to do a project, 2 projects if you want, or as many as you want, using these 2 different methods of creating something that is symmetrical. So something that is symmetrical is something that is, if you were to cut it in half or fold it in half, it would be the same on both sides. So they're a mirror image of each other. Some things that we are familiar with, most familiar with being symmetrical would be something like a drawn heart. So if you were to fold this in half, you would have the same thing on both sides, but they're mirrored. And you make a heart. Another object we're familiar with are butterflies. And the symmetrical line that would cut it in half would be right here. And then it's the same but mirrored on both sides of the butterfly. And then I also found this vase, which I thought was really pretty. And vases, if you were to fold it in half, this vase, let's see, where would that be? Probably about there. And then it would be the same, oops, a little bit off. It would be the same on both sides. So that is symmetry. One way that's easy to make something symmetrical, and most of you probably know, but for others, it'd be a fun lesson for you to try to make a heart. So here is a heart that you can make. I'm going to show you how. Or you might want to try making a butterfly. And we'll try making different things. So the first step you're going to need, what you're going to need is a piece of paper. It could be just copy paper. This is copy paper. Or I also have just lined paper would be fine. Or if you want to get fancy, if you have some colored paper, you could use some colored paper. Let me go ahead and show on copy paper. So the first one we're going to make, or I'm going to make, you can watch, you can go along with me, is a heart. So I'm going to fold my paper. You can either fold it this way, like I think people call it like a hamburger, or you could fold it this way. If you want to make a tall heart, why don't I try making that? So I'm going to do it long ways this time. So I'm going to make a tall heart, and you are going to make half of the heart. So if you look at the heart, you are only going to make one side, and it's going to connect in the middle. So why don't I show you how I'm going to draw it? I have a marker. All right, so I'm going to draw half of my heart. It's going to start here. It's going to make a big hump, and then it's going to come down here for half of a heart. Then I'm going to cut it out. I'm gonna draw a couple of these, and then I'm gonna cut them out. I'm gonna pause it, I'm gonna cut them out, and then you can see what happens. So here's a heart. Why don't I make a blob? I'm gonna make a blob. So it doesn't have to be anything. Anything can be symmetrical. It doesn't have to look like anything. So I'm just going to go like a random, like a blob. Let's see what happens. I don't know. Might be cool. And then I'm going to do a butterfly. So to do a butterfly, you're going to fold it in half. You can do it long ways or wide. And you are going to make 2 bumps. Bump, bump. And then it connects in the middle. So that's where the mirror image is going to be. It's going to go on the other side. So that's why you just want to do half. So I'm going to pause this, cut these out, and then we're going to see what we made. All right, so I cut out the shapes. The first one I did was the heart. So I cut out the heart. I have a nice tall heart. The 2 humps for the butterfly. Got a butterfly. It's kind of magical opening them because you think you know what they're gonna look like, but it's definitely cooler when you open them. And then this is our blob. And let's see. Now he is, I don't know, like some kind of a marine cell thing. He looks really cool, symmetrical. So now if you want, these are awesome. You can make them into cards. They make really cool cards. You can decorate them if you have your crayons out or your colored pencils from your art room. You want to color those in. If you want to use some of your stickers or glue anything on, maybe some magazines, anything. You guys have really good ideas, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with your symmetrical shapes. In our next lesson, in just a minute, I'm going to pause this and get ready. We are going to make some symmetrical drawings, and there's a really cool thing. Actually, I think I'm ready. So I'm not really good at editing, so if I can just do this all in one go, that would be good. So here's some symmetrical drawings that I made. So it's the same on both sides. So if you want to keep on watching, learn how to make some symmetrical drawings. I'm going to be doing that right now. You can always pause it, come back. You guys are learning at home, so you get to do whatever you want, but I'm glad that you're here. Okay, so when I was probably in 2nd grade, I used to go to after school, and someone taught me how to do this, and it has stuck with me. I just thought it was the coolest thing. Let's do a heart because I want you guys to be able to see this, and I want you to have success, and then I want you to be able to make lots of different things. So again, we're gonna have our paper folded. We're gonna make a symmetrical heart. So I have it folded, and along this fold, just like we did with the cutout, heart, here, we're going to make 1/2 of the heart with the fold here. So I'm going to start in the middle because I want it to connect, and I'm going to go around and down. So I have 1/2 of the heart. Now I'm going to fold it, open it up, and I'm going to fold it over. And now I can kind of see through, I don't know if you guys can see it. You can kind of see through the paper. Wherever I see through the paper, I'm going to color because I want to transfer my image. Okay, I'm going to open it up. Yep, that one's, you can definitely see that one more. So I have my image on this side, but on this side I can see a ghost image of the other side, and then that's fun because you can trace that. All right, so these are all symmetrical images that are cut in half, but what happens if you make something that doesn't connect? Let's see what happens. It's fun to experiment. Art is just about experimenting, having fun. So what about if I make like a crazy Google something, kind of like that shape we cut out, and then maybe a dot here. So if I draw this, open it up, and then fold it back on that same line, and if I go ahead and color in wherever I see that image, then we should get a symmetrical image on the other side, but they're not going to be connected, and that's totally fine too, because they will both be symmetrical. So you can see, this is my drawn side, and then if you look closely, you can see the ghosted side. So now I can trace that. And now I have symmetrical drawings. All right, so I hope that that explains symmetrical images to you guys, how to cut out symmetrical images, and how to draw a symmetrical image with a ghosted image on one side, and that you can play around with that. When you're not sure what to do with yourself, think of, oh, I want to make something symmetrical. I've had fun. I did a cutout, so I folded my paper and I got a little bit fancy, and I had the hands holding together. And then on this one, I did the ghost image. I was able to make a smiley face. So there's so many ideas. I miss you guys. I hope you have fun. And I will see you at the next lesson.